all of that, of course, we're going to be introducing ourselves as your casters for today. I'm Arctic at your service, and of course, with me is the lovely Rico.
Hi there, guys. Super duper excited for the amazing matches that we're gonna witness. Sobrang, yun nga, ginather from the Valor Cup Finals sa qualifiers, lahat ng pinakamagagaling na teams at now we're down to 4 teams at this point.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because we've just witnessed nung previous weekend lang yung final 8 teams natin that played it out during the quarterfinals. And, whew, man, those games. I mean, at the same time though, even though they were... I mean, it was pretty much 2-0 across the board. So there were very dominant teams that really performed in quarterfinals. And it's just a very good showing of what talent we really have here in the Philippines. Kaya I'm really looking forward to who our eventual champion would be and how that champion would fare on an international level. But of course, bago tayo makarating dyan, we still have to see who plays it out better within this day.
Exactly. We're gonna find out sino yung mananalo at sino magre-represent for the Philippines as they're fighting not only for the 1 million peso prize pool, they're also fighting for that slot sa SEA or Valiant Server Grand Finals, which will be happening in the Philippines as well. So abangan nyo yan, mark your calendars. Once, Garena AOV has announced the dates and the venue as well.
Yes, and of course, I mean, with that major event coming up, I mean, I guess for any team, it would be an honor naman talaga to be able to not only just win here, but represent the country. And you also have to take note, guys, na aside from the champion, if I'm not mistaken, our second placer will be competing within the wild card. So there's double the chances of potentially seeing a Philippine team in the eventual Southeast Asian competition. So really exciting stuff, guys.
Yeah, because what's going to happen during the Valiant Server Grand Finals is that there's going to be 4 teams competing, and that's from Malaysia, Singapore, and then Philippines, and then yung sinasabi nga ni Arctic, which is the wild card. So I'm really excited. I think that's also going to be a LAN event, so that's going to be super hype. I cannot wait for that. But first, of course, we're going to witness kung sino yung magiging representative natin for today, and that would mean we're going to have 3 matches for this afternoon. We're going to head on to our Bren Esports versus Clutch Guild in a few. But what else do we have in store for our viewers?
Well, you know what? Aside from that first match right there, which is, I mean, I know for a fact that you're probably anticipating it as well, same as me. But of course, later on, we also have our second match. I was about to make a weird pun there, but of course that is gonna be Will New Era and Samurai Gamers within our second match a little bit later on during the day. And of course, sa nakikita nyo nga guys, towards the later part of the day, once these semifinals games are finished up, whoever wins both matches are gonna be transitioning into the very juicy finals.
Exactly. And we got actually a time to speak with them even before this tournament, as they've already competed in other tournaments as well, not only like local tournaments, also as well as the VPL at times, the Valiant Premier League, which was where the Valiant server just competes one another. And the thing that I like about the Arena of Valor community, that is very tight-knit.
Yeah.
Like, everybody knows everybody. Tapos parang ang dami nilang Facebook groups. Like, I think there are like 3 Facebook groups, and that's just Philippines lang, di ba?
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring that up because like earlier, while I was trying to share up on social media, just so that we could keep our challengers updated on what's happening here at the Arena office where we are having our viewing party. So, like, I was trying to wait a minute, like, which group do I share it in again?
Post? Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting that you bring that up, but with the competition that we have today, let's go ahead and talk about our 4 teams here. So I know that you've been actually talking to a lot of these people lately, so I think this would be a really great insight, especially to our audience, kasi ang nakikita lang nila syempre is kung ano yung nakikita nila sa Antares Battlefield with how they duke it out, but without much idea on what happens behind the scenes. So let's go ahead and talk about Bren Esports here first.
Yeah, actually, because the qualifiers weren't streamed, so you could only like see the bracket. Pero pag nung tinanong natin yung mga players kung kamusta naman yung qualifier runs nila, most of them, all the 4 teams answered it was smooth sailing. No defeats whatsoever, very fast games, and they didn't bump into any trouble at all. So it's a very dominating performance, and at the same time, we still don't know what's gonna happen sa ating Final 4 teams sa ating matchup, because I mean, these are the best teams in the Philippines at this point, based on qualifiers na naganap. So that's why I'm really excited, especially sa first match natin, which is Bren versus Clutch Guild.
Yeah, and with these two teams though, because ayun nga, ang daming hype. Actually, some people are kind of wondering why there's such a massive hype surrounding this semifinals match in particular. But I think then again, it's pretty much justified because by background, these are some of the teams that are really people you want to look out for.
Yes.
So for Brand Esports, I mean, what insights have you got for this particular team?
Well, Brent Esports, looks like we're going to start with the draft, but Brent Esports has been picked up recently. That day, I think they were called sponsorless, and then they got picked up by Brent Esports. And I've heard they didn't actually change their rosters in comparison to like the previous weekend, which is PPGL. But looking at the meta, they've been favoring the Astrid pick. They've also managed to like surround themselves in this sort of siege patrol composition where they lock in the Preda, they lock in the Violet, but also looking at Clutch Guild, one of the strongest teams in the Philippines and most feared as well. I'm really expecting them to pick up the Senil Alice because they've been picking that a lot based on the previous tournaments, but because of that deny on the draft with Brent Esports taking that on their second rotation, I feel like that combo is not going to appear here.
Definitely really smart drafts here coming in from both sides so far. And I think this is a really good thing because given the fact that we've had quite a number of tournaments lately, so medyo nagkaroon na rin ng opportunity yung parehong team na ma-scout kung ano yung mga proficient picks ng parehong side. But we're actually talking about this matchup earlier. So we've been seeing all these different games being played out in quarterfinals, and gaya ng sabi ko, we were able to actually catch other tournaments outside of Valor Cup as well. So, I mean, for those of you that really follow the esports scene for AOV, alam niyo naman na a lot of these teams that have made the top 4 have mostly faced each other, with the exception of this matchup right here.
Yes, and one thing to point out is that Ren Esports and Clutch Guild has never faced each other before. This is going to be their first time. We know that a couple of teams, or most of the teams in the Philippines, regularly scrim not only to their, Kapwa Filipinos, but they also scrim with Singaporean teams, Malaysian teams as well. So they regularly practice, but this time around, this matchup, Brent Esports and Clutch Guild, this is one of the most hyped matches we're gonna encounter today. As again, Brent Esports also labeled as one of the top teams, but Clutch Guild, after talking to like 16 teams in the Philippines, sila lagi yung bukang bibig. Clutch Guild is scary, even saying, oh, it's like Son Goku on Ultra Instinct or something. And I'm really impressed by the reputation they've set in the community.
Yeah, and I guess we'll just have to see whether or not it's justified as we head, ladies and gentlemen, into Game 1. This is once again going to be Brent Esports versus Clutch Guild. Who's going to take it? Who's going to get first blood? Let's go ahead and see as we head on to Battlefield.
Exactly. As we're going to be seeing the Leather not going to be, on the Raz as usual, not going to be in a carry, more on the Chognar this time around. A very utility-based hero, but at this point, they're just going to be swapping some buffs here and there with their might buff rotations. At the same time, this is not a very surprising move from both of these teams, but I'm really hyped for this. I've never seen them play against each other before.
Yeah, and I guess finally we'll get that opportunity through our semifinals game right here. But let's go ahead and talk about this draft here so far, because there's just so much information we could relay to our audience here with just the general pace of how things go in AOV. But yeah, looking at the drafts thus far, so we have brought this up earlier, like for Brent Esports, they like to go for a few unique picks here that some teams would otherwise kind of forego, such as the Astrid. So it looks like they will be utilizing it in this game. Not to mention the fact that, again, great move here by denying the allies, denying the combination with the Cedar, because this was a very prominent strategy that we kind of saw, especially from Clutch Guild,
yes,
leading up to the quarterfinals. So it's pretty much a good read as far as what to expect from both teams, and you could clearly see how both sides have kind of planned out, scattered out each other. So go ahead. Okay, LYL though.
Yeah, almost in trouble there. The Peace Boy stun coming from the allies is not going to happen. But one thing that I guess that I'm a little bit worried about is that Clutch Guild's composition is a very damage heavy comp, where they can deal safe damage from the backline, safe poke as well. But in the meantime, Brent Esports, they're more of a 3-man rotation poke they can potentially get a pick off when somebody rotates. But look at this. This is a very aggressive move for the Sentinel.
Yeah, Clutch Kill. Ooh, Ben looking very low, forced to just flicker his way out of there, but can't really say the same as BE. They are forced to back away. Peace Boy is trying to run away from Black here. Black very intent on chasing him down, but Antihero is caught in the middle of this fight right here. That'll be first blood going to XDD, but things aren't done just yet. Looks like Kuroki will be the next to fall. Arcadia is trying to balance things out for Bren Esports, but he is going to have to back away. Meanwhile, he will get knocked up by XDD. Will actually manage to get over that wall there, but that will end in a 1-for-2 in favor of Clutch Guild.
This is exactly what I'm worried about, because the composition that they made, I always try to look at it as a 1-3-1. Top lane and bot lane will remain, and jungler, your roamer, and your mid lane will do the aggressive rotations or try to counter the movements from your opponent. But if I look at it, it's going to be an Alice, Chognar, and a Zephys, and I fear that's not going to be enough in comparison to the Jinnar, Violet, and the Thane. And if you add a Senil into it with his global ultimate, it's very awkward to look at. And you're going to force the Astrid to rotate with you guys just for the additional damage, but at the same time, it's still more like a bruiser. So I guess in terms of like counterplaying a rotation against Clutch Guild, it's a little bit risky because, again, just as I mentioned, Clutch Guild has a more balanced composition where they can deal safe damage, but at the same time in your face. But here's an Abyssal Dragon take.
Yeah, Abyssal Dragon take coming here from CG. Looks like Brent Esports will scout this out, though. Looks like we might be seeing yet another fight break out, but the numbers are looking quite well for Clutch Guild. Leather getting the kill onto Black. Looks like they want to go for the cleanup here. LYL, he's trying to balance things out by at least getting a counter kill onto the members of Brent Esports, but looks like LYL, he's actually surviving to tell the tale. Gets quite a bit of members from BE before he goes down himself.
All right, well played there by Bren Esports on that 4v4 situation at the Abyssal Dragon. Kuroki managed to steal that one up, even though that was Clutch Guild yung nag-invest ng resources nila doon. So that was a very good trade for them. Kasi nga, nanalo pa sila sa laban, nakuha pa rin nila yung Abyssal Dragon. And it's all I mean, Senil wasn't able to respond to that despite him having already, he's already level 6, he already has his ult. But at the same time, hindi nila nabawi yon. So great job for Brent Esports for winning that. I guess, if you look at it, aside from the Senil and Alice combo, there's also the Chognar Alice combo, which we've seen in AIC last year. Pretty common, good synergy with skills as well as the MR. Chognar's gonna deal a lot of damage if you combine it with the Hissy Fit, so we'll see what they're gonna do here with the Sentinel buff.
Yeah, and I think, okay, Clutch Guild, they are kind of poisoning themselves here to contest this against Brent Esports, but Brent Esports, they are keeping the members of CG at bay here, but is CG gonna try to push for this, though? Looks like that won't be the case, but yeah, Peace Boy, though, they are looking for members here from Clutch Guild. Okay, so 611 is going to get caught out here. That's 4 members diving onto him right away. He is trying to make the escape right there. Tries to go for the dash. XDD will go for the response to make sure that 611 lives to tell the tale, but looks like BE will back away for the meantime.
That is so smart of Bren Esports. They almost made a pick. Senil was forced to respond there, and that would mean Astrid safely at the bot side of the map to split push. And you know what? It's fine. Damage on the tower, that's almost done. But that's going to be a rotation to Thane and LYL here on the Violet. Forced downwards. But that would mean no resources at top side. Sentinel is free for the taking. And Alice is just there on Peace Boy to keep that person safe. So, ang galing ng rotation ng Bren Esports. They're more of a counter-rotating team, which is very good, and it suits their composition well.
Yeah, and I think it just pretty much complements us, but okay. Looks like CG, they're just kind of holding the fort here so far with all the proactivity coming here from Bren Esports. And so far, though, okay, a little bit of a juke out here between Arcadia as well as XDD. Won't really lead into anything, though. Just a few scratches here and there.
Exactly. And one thing I noticed about Bren Esports playstyle, I did mention about, the counter rotation, and it's also the counter objective plays. They always wait for Clutch Guild to take an objective, start an objective, give resources, but here's a fight. We'll see what's going to happen here, Arctic.
Exactly. Abyssal Dragon, who's going to get this? Looks like they're not done just yet, though. They want to go straight in for the fight, not even getting a carry in the world. It did go to CG, though, but looks like CG, they are looking for a cleanup here. Damage is on their side here right now, but Antihero dealing quite a bit himself as well. Tries to go for 611, but XDD keeping him at bay right there. A lot of casualties right there. 3 for 3 equal, though, at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's what I. Again, this is what we've been worried about. They're good at the counterplay and everything, but if it's a full 5v5 matchup, you're gonna have to be worried about, the LYL staying alive as much as he can and dealing the necessary damage. And not only that, he's gonna scale pretty well into the late game. Like, look at Antihero trying the plays here with the dragon, with his ult, gets the shield in, but that will be fine. Antihero will just respect Lulu's damage and back away.
Yeah, man, Brent Esports, I really like the rotations thus far. It's just that, like you mentioned, when it heads to those bigger team fights, it's a little bit more questionable right there. Unlike if they could potentially isolate a member from Clutch Guild, well, that's where they'll really shine because they have all the tools to do so, especially utilizing the utility coming in for both Beast Boy as well as Leather to kind of slow things down in the midst of pickoffs. But then again, XTD though is forced to kind of respond whenever those plays are made. But okay, LYL gets a little bit of damage there onto Arcadia. Looks like Clutch Guild will actually go on the offense towards taking out the first tier turret towards top side.
They're forced to give this up as Lulu tries to take a pick. Peace Boy, very aggressive, already has Ancestral Glory. No wonder, the Alice is very brave. Spots out Ben. Leather will go back as he tries to distract and zone them. Irie and Seniel, as usual, just switching up lanes. The most common matchup we've seen in the current meta today, either top or bot. But at this point, it's Peace Boy that's going to try to defend. There's a hissy fit. This is what's going to happen.
Yeah, Kuroki will just kind of back away there. Leather tries to balance things out by protecting his teammates, but he's looking at the lower end of the stick right now. But looks like Brent Esports Antihero goes straight for the back line. Actually manages to take down Black before he tries to back away under the safety of his turret. But XCD, very gutsy, very tanky, just goes straight in for the dive. But looks like Arcadia, wow, he wants to try to clean things up here, but he finds himself in a tricky situation, and he gets taken down.
You saw that greedy flicker, dire blow. He wanted the plays, he wanted the highlight reel, but it's not enough. Again, we've mentioned how Arcadia on this Astrid is more like a bruiser. I will deal damage, but at the same time try to stay as long as I can, stay alive as long as I can. But at the same time, if you don't have your team, I'm not quite sure if that play was worth it. You lost a flicker, you gave a kill, but at the same time, no objective was taken away. No consolation prize on that one. So I'm not sure if that was the correct play for Brent Esports. But looking at the gold, it's still quite close, not a significant lead. In comparison to the games that we've seen from Clutch Guild on other tournaments, at the 3-minute mark, you see like a 5k gold lead already. But at this point, Brent Esports is picking up in terms of keeping up with the gold despite getting a few losses here and there.
Yeah, it's interesting though. If you're going to look at these past few minutes, I mean, there's been so much proactivity coming in from Brent Esports within the first few minutes. But as this builds up, it's slowly tilting towards a lot more proactivity translating from Clutch Guild. But looks like this is going to be right here. Brent Esports knows that they could take it right now. Antihero will be joining the fray as well. Black does manage to take down Leather though. Kuroki, he's trying to back away, dashing his way out of there, but the range is just making its work here for LYL. But he's going to get collapsed on by both Arcadia as well as Antihero. But he actually manages to survive. Man, look at the movement right there. And that will end in a 2-for-2. Interesting enough though. Still ends equal.
Indeed, as they decided to, once they lost, especially, Zephys is quite low. You know what? Back na lang tayo. Let's try to split push and give this fight up. Especially the, Astrid losing the flicker earlier. So once she goes in, Arcadia is done for. Especially like ang daming all in your face. You have the Lubu, they have the Thane, Jinner as well when he activates his ult. So sobrang painful ng composition ng Clutch Guild. Ito yung sinasabi natin kanina na if it's a full 5v5, it might be a little bit awkward if the ults don't land correctly, especially yung mga hissy fit with the Chognar combination, and as well as, the Astrid trying to live as much as they can. Plus, ang ganda na sana ng ang pasok ni Irie, but looks like there's a fight in the top lane.
Yeah, Antihero, it's going to get got out here quite a bit. LYL, overall, quite a bit of damage. Will manage to dash his way out of there, though. But yeah, amidst these rotations, it's very interesting because earlier with Brent Esports, I like the fluidity within the first, let's say 1 to 4 minutes, but afterwards, as far as the fights that break out, it's actually Clutch Guild that after a fight, they're able to transition that into objectives, whether it be these turret takes towards top side, towards mid lane afterwards, transitioning that into Abyssal Dragon. But man, 6-1 there. Will be getting a response there from XDD, but still, that's going to be 4 members of Brent Esports here. Black will be joining the frame just a bit as well, but 6-1, he's taking quite a bit of damage right there. That is going to be Antihero taking him down. XDD will be cut out here as well, but Black joins the fray. Members of Brent Esports, they want to try to back away now because LYL is just ready here for the cleanup, and that will indeed be the signal for Brent Esports. They are trying to back out right now. Kuroki, looks like he will make that sneaky play right there, but that does end in the 2-for-1 in favor of CG. And looks like, what objectives will they go for next year?
That was supposed to be a punish. They couldn't, again, kulang sa damage. You could have punished the Lubu, but because of the composition that they had, that's, kumbaga, yun lang yung kaya nilang gawin. There's so much sustain and shields as well as damage reduction on the side of Clutch Guild. Kaya sobrang hirap if they want to try to punish someone that's caught off guard. Lalo na Clutch Guild is the type of team that... Oh! I thought that was gonna be a steal!
Almost. Close enough. Close enough.
Yeah. But well played by Brent Esports. They had the correct mindset, the correct strategy to punish, but at the same time, it wasn't enough talaga. Nakapag-responde agad yung Clutch Guild dun sa encounter na yun.
Yeah, and that's kind of the interesting part right here. I mean, Brent Esports, we see the proactivity to at least try to push for fights whenever the numbers do work in their advantage, but it's just overwhelming with how quick CG is on their feet to respond right away.
Yes.
And I think what's beautiful about this is that it's almost like a good trap here for Clutch Guild to set up here just when you think you have a member of CG isolated as far as how Brent Esports perceives it. XDD granting that extra survivability, just enough time for the rest of CG to respond. So I like how this is playing out for CG. Brent Esports, they're kind of more responsive now at this point though.
Yes, especially that there's pressure on Dark Slayer, and Seniel is still pushing at the bottom side of the map. He does have ult, so that's going to be something. And a hero activates ult to 3 people, gets the shield in, but forced to back away as she is super low. So much pressure. That's Kuroki at the flank, but decides to just retreat as a lot of members are very low. Even us, the Seniel is not even forced to respond. He's even walking towards the lane instead of ulting.
Exactly, in Clutch Guild, they're very intent on taking down this Dark Slayer, but looks like Brent Esports is ready to contest this, but the damage onto Kuroki as well as the rest of our DE, it's just way overwhelming for them to take right now. Clutch Guild though, they're looking to clean this up. Antihero, he's trying to make the most out of this though, but 6-1-1 immediately goes for the dive, and right there, that's 4 members decimated from the side of Brent Esports, and Clutch Guild, they're on a roll.
Kuroki managed to steal the Abyssal Dragon earlier, but not this time for the Dark Slayer. Clutch Guild really prioritized that double punish versus a single punish composition. So I'm pretty sure they timed their skills right, their talents right. Anti-hero with a hero place. We'll see if it's going to be enough. He's stalling as much as he can. There's the shield from the ult, but that's a Seniel as well, giving sustain, and that will be the game. Clutch Guild with an amazing performance for game number 1.
Yeah, there you have it, guys. Game 1 will be indeed linked to Clutch Guild. Amazing play right there, and that's just a great way to kick off the Valor Cup semifinals.
I mean, that was a different Clutch Guild. I see it as a challenged Clutch Guild, because all of the games that I've witnessed from that team, after getting their ults level 4, they would immediately rotate to the enemy might buff and keep pressuring that every single time. But this time, they did not do it because Brent Esports is on a different level. They definitely know how to defend their resources and their, territory. But in the end, during a couple of minutes during the mid phases of the game, the gold lead was slowly dwindling in favor of Clutch Guild, and it was really hard to recuperate.
Now that I think about it, I mean, I was talking about earlier how the first few minutes, it was kind of a lot of proactivity from Brent Esports, but transitioning afterwards, it was more on CG. I guess it was also Clutch Guild in a way, waiting until such time that they did have access to their ultimates. Until such time that they also had the proper itemization, as well as the proper scaling to at least know that they could contend and overwhelm Brent Esports once they do take the fights to them. So overall, just very well played out though. What I do like about this game, however, is that I'd say it's still pretty much balanced out though. It's not the same dominating games that we saw in the quarterfinals. It still could have gone either way, but Clutch Guild, a great showing in that game 1 nonetheless.
Yeah, I want to point out that Brent Esports had the correct mindset.
Right.
They did the counterplay I think their composition would have worked if it were to snowball, but the composition drafted by Clutch Guild was a very it had more options.
Right.
They had the split push from the Sentinel. They had more damage from 5v5. They had the 1-3-1 covered with the Thane, Jinnar, and the Violet in terms of damage. They had the 1-4 as combination as well, where the Sentinel would split push and then 4 as a squad would work with the Lubu. So there's so many options for Clutch Guild to win, but very minimal for Brent Esports to win as well.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with Brent Esports' draft right there. It almost has to be played to perfection, and every single opportunity that they seize, they kind of need to put it to a point wherein they take down a target right away before Clutch Guild could even respond. But that's the thing right there. It's just such a great stall from the Sentinel, just stall in the sense that you get that access right there to Sentinel going in to provide the support, and that extended time right there just gives enough time. I mean, it's interesting because Clutch Guild, like, they roam from quite a far side of the map, but because of how long it takes to actually take down a member of CG, just gives enough time, which is why I'm absolutely mind blown right now with how CG played that out.
Exactly, and I really love the fact that looking at the Sentinel earlier, he was bot lane. He was very reserved of his ult. He walked, and that's how, Clutch Guild is very trusting. Or, we can keep ourselves alive. We can walk, maybe use the ult when the time is right. So there's patience, decision making within team fights, and I feel like, it's really amazing watching how Clutch Guild, plays this out. But again, this is a best of 3 series. We still have a lot of more Arena of Valor action later on, as Brent Esports still has, a couple of games to take this back.
Yep, as Rigu said, still this is a best of 3. Let's go ahead and see a little bit later on if Brent Esports can take it and equal 1-1, or is Clutch Guild just going to dominate their way to the finals? So, of course, as you can see on your screens right there, mabilisan tayo, guys, ah. And I think, this is where a true test of... Have you ever gone through typing tutor when you were in high school, elementary? Not really?
So.
You think so? Yeah, I think this is where it really comes into... great practice right now.
If I remember correctly, that was the time where you had to, like, each finger corresponds to a certain letter. And I'm like, nah, I'm just going to use both index fingers to type. I don't need the rest of my fingers for my keyboard. But yeah, you definitely have a better chance if you use that technique back then.
Yeah, and I mean, as you guys can see, there are quite a number of codes that we had, but we're just getting started, guys. The longer this day goes, the more games that we have, the more codes that we have prepped. We got you challengers.
Yes, sir. I'm so excited because for the people na kakarating pa lang, again, ito yung first time ni Clutch Guild and Brent Esports na magkalaban. And these two teams regularly scrim against other regions, like for example sa Singapore or sa Malaysia, scrim din sila. But these two teams have never faced each other, even in scrims, even in other tournaments. So parang this is like a major preview of how Clutch Guild and Brent Esports is gonna look like, and I feel like this is gonna be a more intense match.
And of course, I'm not going to hold you off any longer, Ricky, from checking out that game too as we head into the drafting phase. Once again, this is going to be Clutch Guild versus Brent Esports. A little bit of a switcheroo in terms of the sides, but let's go ahead and see how Clutch Guild will adapt to that alongside Brent Esports as well. Take a look, guys. This is a best of 3 Clutch Guild, just 1 win away. Let's talk about these picks and bans here.
Malak ban is actually pretty interesting. It just means that they're not really afraid of the Chognar. You can pick the Chognar, it's fine. Just do whatever. They're not even fearing the Irie as well. And I feel like it's mainly because they won that match in a very convincing manner. And this time around, maybe... it just puzzles me, like, what Leather is such a very skilled, mechanical player. And normally we see him, one of his favorites, he's on Raz, Kuroki is on the Nakroth and stuff like that. But their draft, they're picking as if, let's form a team composition instead of something that are not our fave heroes this time around. But with the Violet pick, I'm not so worried about their backline damage, and they do have a lot of appeal. They've got the Ormar, they've got the Chognar, but looking at Clutch Guild, Lindis. Being locked in. I was about to say Hover. Okay, they're actually pretty good at the Lindis. It really suits their playstyle.
Yeah, and I gotta say, what's really interesting about this is that for Brent Esports, again, even with the damage coming in from the Violet, just the fact that the combination of both the Xenia as well as the Alice on one team for Clutch Guild, that's a lot of protection that pretty much allows them to deal with initial barrage that could come out from Kuroki here, along with other elements like the Lubu, like the Ormar, like the Arthur. So I'm wondering how this is going to pan out, along with the damage from the Juggernaut as well. So there's a lot of ways that they can deal with it.
Exactly, but one thing that I'm worried about is that you did mention how it's a very protect the marksman composition for Brent Esports, but going to Clutch Guild, they've used this composition so many times in other tournaments, which is the Senial and Alice combo, where, okay, we're going to just keep our damage dealers or bruisers or assassins alive as much as we can and out-sustain them with all the shields, mobility, and it works out pretty well because, again, it fits their playstyle as a team that likes to do two things at the same time. They want to split push, they have the Irie, they have the Senial, they can swap roles. Irie could join in the fight, or Irie could split push. Either way, it works for them. And it's, again, a very flexible composition. And I did mention earlier that, 1-3-1s are important during the early phases of the game once you hit level 4. And it still looks pretty solid to me for Brent Esports, but at the same time, it's more flexible for Clutch Guild.
Yeah, but meanwhile, that's going to be 3 members of Clutch Guild catching out Leather here, but looks like the rest of Brent Esports are there in the vicinity in case a full fight breaks out. Arcadia going to go straight in onto the dive onto Ben. Ben just forced to flicker his way out of there, but still Brent Esports, they are intent on taking down the members of Clutch Guild. That will be first blood. Interesting enough, if I'm not mistaken, that went to Kuroki. So that's a pretty good start off for him.
Definitely, but they've invested a lot of resources, but looks like they get the Sage Golem for themselves, so they lose a buff. Let's see if they can intercept their retreat. But looks like no 611 on the Senial, very mobile as they lose a Sage buff for themselves.
Yes, and you have to take Kuroki just gonna play out this Violet here in the jungle, and I think this is what I kind of like about what Brent Esports is playing here with right now. I mean, in the team fights later on, everybody is gonna look to protect Kuroki at all costs, but in the laning phase with Kuroki just kind of rotating across the map, if you're gonna look at what Brent Esports has here, if ever Kuroki does make it into a lane, there's a lot of ways that it's pretty much a setup here for lanes across the board. So let's go ahead and see if Brent Esports can see success in that one in these early minutes.
Well, look at that. 3-man rotation at the top side of the map for Brent Esports. Question is, will they be able to make a pick? A 611 has shields, has slow, has the mobility, has the dash. I feel like once this is spotted out, this is a quick rotation just to intercept the retreat. Sentinel buff being focused instead, but that's a Bren win if I look at it, because Clutch Guild rotated but didn't do anything at all.
Pretty much, and it's interesting though, transitioning that straight away into the Sentinel, but overall though, I like how Brent Esports, they're really just making roams across the map, looking for moments of opportunities. Meanwhile, if you're going to notice towards the spot lane, we do see that Arthur going straight in, picking up the Irie, forcing him to back away, but that will lead to a transition into the Abyssal Dragon here. Looks like Clutch Guild, they are poising themselves to try to contest this, but the numbers are looking pretty good for Brent Esports. Meanwhile, XTD goes straight in, tries to negate things out right there, but looks like Brent Esports, they're going to go on the chase right there. They're trying to put him down, but XTD, slippery targety, is just going to back away.
Yep, that's an Irie for ya. XDD tried to steal the Abyssal Dragon, but wasn't enough as they rotate here at the Sage Golem. Good vision, LYL, try to keep distance from the Ormar. He's going to spin his way and try to zone them away as well. Senial with a response, but good call from Brent Esports to just respect that and back away.
Meanwhile, though, looking here, I mean, we are seeing Clutch Guild, they are going for a little bit of a mirror now with the groups whenever they do need to, because of how close-knit Brent Esports has been roaming as a unit across this map thus far. So, interesting enough though. I mean, it might not necessarily translate to pickoffs from Brent Esports' sides, but it does grant just enough pressure for Clutch Guild to not really able to respond to whatever objectives Brent Esports does transition to take in the midst of that pressure.
Exactly, and this is a an improved Bren Esports in comparison to game number 1, just as you mentioned. And they've been getting all the objectives so far, and gold lead is already on their side. It's not that significant, but it's slowly growing, and they're not even losing anything at all. Even securing that buff, that vision rather, from Arcadia. Good steal, very patient. Half HP already on XDD. This matchup is definitely not working in Clutch Guild's favor, as you know, they've been Bren Esports has been pressuring top side as well.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much safe to say that Bren Esports, they're not playing games anymore. Game 1, a little bit of a warm-up, transitioning into this game 2. And I really like the fluidity. That's a little bit more consistent from what we saw in Game 1, wherein a little bit later in on, they were taking it a little bit more easier. So I like this build-up that they're capitalizing on here. Let's go ahead and see if this does eventually lead to a pull-through for them. Wow. Continuously, Abyssal Dragon is now up. They're going to be showing up members here of Clutch Guild. LYL, though, he is trying to lead as Ben, he joins the party, goes straight here for Arcadia. He's trying to dish out the damage. XDD, though, is styling, but keeping a distance as well. But man, Kuroki gets the kill onto Ben right then and there. The rest of Clutch Guild, they have to kind of hold themselves off there.
Beautiful. That was beautiful by Bren Esports. Okay, so LYL is not carrying a flicker. Lindis doesn't have a dash. We do have that movement speed, but at the same time, it still wouldn't be enough, as a lot of Bren Esports players or heroes that they selected will be on your face. And that's what happens. LYL try to keep distance. And they won that team fight, or clash rather. It wasn't a full 5v5 as Lubu was split pushing. But they won that, got the Abyssal Dragon, got the split push. Everything is on Bren Esports side, and they're slowly getting as much gold lead as they can, and they maximize that a lot. Clutch Guild didn't get anything at all in that encounter, and within that window of time that they got, Bren Esports just won it all.
Man, and I gotta say here for Clutch Guild, it's such an unfortunate circumstance, because if you're going to consider it, they have all the elements, they have all the ingredients working for them to try to make these fights work. But then again, I feel like there's a lot more pressure here on Black and 611, because they are the key ingredients that Clutch Guild needs to at least make sure that these team carries last out in fights. But if they lose out on a component early on, especially Black, who's a little bit more delicate, then that's easily quite the limp that they have in team fights.
Exactly, and I feel like that key factor to eliminating Kuroki is XDD. He's the only one that could potentially reach the backline and try to flank and do a sneaky burst damage later on towards the late game. We have seen so many Irie plays against marksmen having a headache just because the Irie is always on your face. But now the question is it going to be enough once late game comes? Will Bren Esports be able to protect? Or is the frontline peel coming from Bren Esports' composition a huge problem for Clutch Guild to handle?
Yeah, we'll just have to see though. Looks like Clutch Guild, they are starting to group up. As we did see earlier, they started making rotations of their own, at least by consolation, taking a turret towards the bot side, but looks like that could be a convergence right there. Beast Boy goes straight and gets quite a bit of a hold onto Clutch Guild right there. That's not a fight that Clutch Guild might not have wanted to take. XDD, he is trying to hit from the back line, but unfortunately, that's just too much protection coming in from the side of Bren Esports for him to easily take down a target. But looks like, is this going to be the cleanup though? Beast Boy is kind of going for the front line, has to back away a bit though. Distancia Amigo, 611 though, he's trying to keep the members of Bren Esports at bay here from taking turret, but that's going to be an easy take for them as 611 and Black are just forced to play in back row.
This is beautiful from Bren. They know what to do. And the zoning from Peace Boy on the Ormar works so well. I believe he stunned like 3 people. The spin was absolutely maximized there. And Violet just got the space she needed for the damage. And look at Kuroki, very healthy as usual every time these fights end. And every time this happens, they lose an objective. Abyssal Dragon, again, nothing still for the side of Clutch Guild. And eventually, once late game comes, if the gold lead keeps building up in favor of Bren Esports, it might be difficult for CG to actually recuperate from everything.
Yeah, and I think that's the tricky part right here. I mean, even with the protection coming in from both the Alice as well as the Senio, if they can't get to a point where they can at least try to get back on equal ground with Bren Esports, that utility won't be enough, because Bren Esports, as far as output, would be just too overwhelming for the utility to deal with just that.
Exactly, and as you can see, Anti-Hero already a problem as a solo top here against the Senior. He's not able to do his split push job, and look at that, even intercepting, but the ult will just keep him safe. So no CC to lock him down. Darkslayer actually being targeted already, but we'll see. With the ult gone, no ult on the Senior. That means Bren Esports has more leeway to actually try to do outplays or win a team fight if ever.
Yeah, Brent Esports, though, they are keeping their ground. You're respecting the potential contest coming in from Clutch Guild. But then again, for Clutch Guild, that is something that they have been taken into account of, not giving the Dark Slayer to Brent Esports under any circumstances that would otherwise amplify Brent Esports to a potential win, because that would be pretty devastating if Brent Esports could get that buff, considering the lead that they have right now. That's a pretty sizable goal difference that we're seeing, 18.6 versus 27.2. But okay, 6-1-1. Continue. This is the pressure here towards topside constant here from Ren Esports.
Yeah. Now that I think about their composition, I mean, you do have the Sentinel, you do have the Alice, but if I were to replace Lindis, I'd rather have a Joker in the backline for that immense damage that could match the Violet. But Lindis is a very utility. She does deal consistent damage, but that's consistent damage. If you do manage to like CC someone, solid CC, stun, you don't have enough to actually burst them down, as you know, there's the Chognar to cancel the CCs. They've got a lot of appeal as well, and the necessary targets that you want to burst down is very, you know, very in the back line. So you can't really, it's really hard to make this composition work at this point, since everybody is in the phase where it's going to be 1-4 rotations and or full 5v5 team fight.
I mean, on strategy, on paper, this is something that Clutch Guild, they look like they can execute, at least by taking down Kuroki earlier on, but we do see the attempts. Every time XDD tries to go for that backline, Brent Esports is quick to collapse on making sure that the Violet is protected at all costs, and looks like Brent Esports, they are poising themselves to deny even more objectives from the side here of Clutch Guild, easily taking down that turret. That's going to be a little bit of a problem here as far as pressure towards the top side that Clutch Guild now has to try to deal with, on top of trying to get back into this game.
Exactly, and no matter who they match up with, the Seniel, Lubu or Arthur, it works out in their favor, not only due to the fact that they have more items, they have more gold, but matchup-wise, it's just really a headache for the Seniel to deal with. You normally see the Irie Seniel matchup whenever they try to do the split push, but you know what, they're the same team, they're the same squad, they're slowly chipping down the base of Clutch Guild at this point. Gold lead, man, oh man, that's already 10k on their side.
Whew. And of course, that's just one more turret down, but 6-1-1 tries to make up a set here. This could be the fight that Clutch Guild has been looking for, but Brent Esports, they are quick to go on for the response, but Kuroki easily gets decimated without the protection from his teammates. Looks like Brent Esports, they are going to try to make the most out of this fight, though. They still have that massive lead. XDD, the only surviving member. Ladies and gents, this could potentially very well be the finish. Very hefty death timers coming in from the side of Clutch Guild. What can XDD do? I don't think one man could stop this full barrage of members from Brent Esports alone. XDD tries to go for Beast Boy, but in the process goes down. The Nexus, though, at the end of the day, that will be the takedown, as the scoreboard is equaled out 1-1 for Brent Esports.
Oh, this series is amazing. It's 1-1. It's a best of 3 series. Clutch Guild definitely tried their best to make their composition work, but it was too late. They were a ticking time bomb. They needed to get ahead of the game during the early phases of the game. It's true, their composition suits that well. Their Lindis, Alice, and Jinner could do the rotations in terms of like making picks to objectives. That's the key. But at the same time, damage-wise, I feel like it's not going to be enough in comparison to, like, I don't know, Violet paired with, you know, Ormar and the Chognar. That's a lot of protection, and I feel like Kuroki on the Violet is going to be enough in taking down objectives and actually countering some sort of countering a counter rotation. That doesn't sound right. But at the end of the day, it was a good idea for Clutch Guild, but at the same time, they weren't able to maximize their time. So by the end of the mid phase, where everybody else is joined together, it was already too late, as not completely a fan of Lindis being like your solo marksman. You normally want to pair it. Jinner, on the other hand, is very reliant on getting in in your face
Exactly.
type of hero. And if you don't do that, if you're in the backline, you're basically just gonna throw balls.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of the counter, the anti working against Clutch Guild right there. I mean, even with the Jinna trying to go in onto fights, I mean, that's not necessarily the best group of heroes you want to go into
Yes.
that could particularly lock you down. And I think the interesting thing there is that even with we saw actually it did come to a point wherein they found a fight that by position of Brent Esports would have worked in their favor because of how behind they were. It's such a shame. It
Yes.
was just way too overwhelming for them to take at that point.
Exactly. And at the end, you saw that Kuroki was sort of out of position. They invested so many resources. Hissy Fit being laid out. The Jinner actually flickered from the base just to reach Kuroki, but just got stunned in the end. So it wasn't actually, maximized. But at the same time, everybody else was low. Kuroki's job was done. And once he fell, it was just a cleanup squad for Lubu. And again, just as you mentioned, before the end of the game, it was just too late already. Goldie was too immense.
So there you have it, guys. That was game 2. When we do come back, though, man, oh man, this is going to be it. We'll finally find out who will be our very first finalist. I don't know about you guys, Brand Esports, Clutch Guild. I'm still kind of on the fence here, so we'll just have to find out. Of course, we've been your casters, Arctic at your service, fam. With me is Riku. This is once again the Arena Valor Cup semifinals leading up to the national finals. See you guys in just a little bit. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Garena AOV Valor Cup National Semifinals. Of course, once again, this is between Clutch Guild versus Bren Esports, wherein, oh my god, I have to take a moment, Riku, because that 1-1, I was almost expecting that it would go 2-0 to either side, like just build up that momentum,
Yes.
but man, Bren Esports just flipping the switch right there and forcing it into a game 3 here.
Yeah, we talked off stream during the break na parang yung composition ni Clutch Guild has to work early game or else it's gonna be difficult on these 5v5 matchups kasi parang magkukulang sila sa damage if they don't snowball, and all the objectives, Abyssal Dragon, Sentinel, Towers, everything else, even fights are being won by Bren Esports at that time. So medyo mahirap na paggalawin or magkaroon ng comeback in terms of like if they wanna maybe perhaps win late game and stuff like that. It was really difficult for them. And Bren Esports definitely know what to do with their lead, and that's why they kept pushing and pushing, and Seniel wasn't able to do his split push tactics na kasi nga Lubu and Arthur were just a headache to deal with. But now, let's head on to game number 3.
Yeah, so there you go. As usual, we are going to be seeing the constant mirror as well as the Malak fan coming in from both sides. Interesting enough, though, for first pick, we see a hover. Okay, not even a hover. That's going to be a straight lock-in onto that move.
It's actually interesting how Bren Esports suddenly placed priorities. Wow! Okay. They're going to swap. Because game number 1, they ignored the Lubu, but after seeing the Lubu, this is 2 straight games taking it for themselves, denying it away from Clutch Guild. But at the same time, you can see still that we still love the Seniel, but at the same time, we're gonna take away Chognar and maybe mess up your strategy, your most comfy strategy, playing around the Chognar. But look at that, it's not going to be a utility-based marksman this time around. It's gonna be a Joker on Clutch Guild.
Finally, we're gonna be seeing a marksman that packs a little bit of a better punch, and I feel like could go head-to-head with this Violet within the later part should he have a better transition. But then again, if you look at the composition that Clutch Guild has, the fact that they were able to get 2 power picks in the form of Xenial and Chognar right off the bat, it's very much complementary to realizing that condition right there. Wow!
Okay. Clutch Guild has built their perfect protect the marksman composition, which they've played in previous tournaments. Seniel Alice, either pair it with a Violet or Joker, still works pretty well, but the success that we've seen with this Joker pick, paired with this 2 support heroes, has proved itself in the previous matches. But in comparison to Bren Esports, though, I actually thought they lock in the Preda. You saw Leather thinking, do I lock in this Jannar? Maybe yung favorite ko na si Raz, o baka naman yung Preta. Because Preta, if they pick that up, would be harder to execute, but at very high reward as they can take towers early game. What you do is you rotate as a squad, clear the waves with the Preta, poke as well, zone them away, and then you could just deal a lot of damage paired with the Violet on structures. But they decided to go for the Jinnar instead.
Yeah, let's go ahead and see how this will pan out, though. Because, man, we were talking about how Clutch Guild during Game 2, they had quite the utility to protect carries, but man, this time around, with a Xenial, with an Alice, with a Chognar to boot, that's quite a bit. Quite a bit is probably an understatement. That's a lot of utility that they're going to be utilizing right there to make sure that LYL as well 611 to an extent are really get things going. But Ben might not be on the best side of the map right here. Gets a little few scratches here and there. Will escape quite safely.
Wanted to spot out the rotation towards the might buff here on the Golem, but that's gonna be LYL as well, seeking, what do you call this, a zoning, landing a couple hits, but LYL super low at this point.
Yeah, he's just kind of forced to back away here. That's kind of a hero that you don't want to just kind of fall behind under any circumstances. So good call right there for Clutch Guild to just restrain themselves for quite a bit. Meanwhile, it looks like XDD and Antihero are juking it out. Looks like Clutch Guild will be the first to make that response right there. Antihero is trying to back away right now. That's going to be the knockup. Is that going to be first blood? Yes, indeed, and perfect hero to give it to as it goes to LYL.
Aw, man, no flicker as well. I mean, the Joker, LYL's flicker was already burned, but at the same time, looks like they got the better end of the stick as Clutch Guild gets first blood and secures their own might buff. Looks like the buffs are on the correct places. No one manages to get a steal. So So everything's A-okay for the start. It's still fine. But at this point, it's going to be a Lubu versus Senial matchup in the top side of the map in comparison to the usual Iris Senial you've been seeing for the past few matches, for the past 2 weekends on another tournament for Arena Valor. But, you know, Jinner has been a popular pick 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Almost every single game has been, he's been picked. But the last week, he wasn't picked at all. It was like the flavor of that weekend was Illumia. But you know what? No Illumia. No, not a fan.
Not today.
Not today. Abyssal Dragon already being started at this point, but we'll see if there's going to be steal. Looks like that's Clutch Guild securing that spot. Peace Boy very low.
Yeah, Peace Boy, medyo nanggulo siya dun sa Abyssal Dragon, was trying to hold off Clutch Guild right there, but unfortunately, he did go down, and ooh, that's gonna be a huge boost here for Clutch Guild. They were able to secure Abyssal Dragon amidst Peace Boy trying to be that distraction kind of to try to face Clutch Guild, but they just got a lot more value out of that at the end of the day, with Brent Esports not quite getting anything in exchange.
Exactly. They lost 2 people, but look at that. There's an aggressive invade here on the jungle side of Brent Esports for their Sage buff, and looks like they managed to secure it for themselves, managed to protect it well, but looking at this Clutch Guild, it's like they turned a switch on, and then suddenly they're doing the same rotations we've seen in Philippine Pro Gaming League 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it's the same part where they're going to be aggressive on objectives. They're going to be aggressive at the bottom side of the map. They're going to secure everything as much as they can, rotate with the Alice. This works perfectly. With the Zephys as well, it just locks down potential targets, and LYL on this Joker is just going to be enough. Especially with Chognar on their side, there's no one to cancel once those CCs get locked in.
Oh man, but still, looks like Clutch Guild, they aren't slowing down whatsoever. And what's interesting here is that if you're gonna look at how fluid they've been moving across the map, it's pretty much what I've been waiting for Clutch Guild. This is the same cleanliness that I've seen from them in most of the games that I did get to witness. With you.
Yes.
So, and also, what's really interesting here is that with the lead that they have, it only allows them to reach their spikes earlier on.
Yes.
So that's something that Brent Esports has to deal with, because if Clutch Guild reaches that early on spike, which usually, if this went down, would have been attained a little bit later on in the minutes, then it could potentially be a done deal for Brent Esports. They need to start trying to look for opportunities.
Yeah, and it's this with the composition that Clutch Guild drafted, it's really hard to punish mistakes because they have a lot of protection. They have the Alice, they have the Senial, and they have the Chognar, and it just blows my mind how they're banking on LYL and the early game rotations, and it's working perfectly for them because the Brent Esports managed to draft a very balanced composition, but at the same time, it's not a very punishing one. And Leather at this point, is just gonna get bursted down, forced to use a flicker at this point. And hard CC and AoE CC is super important in this game. And it seems that CG has everything. They've got single target, they've got AoE, they've got a lot in their bank. And Jinner, with the AoE damage that he provides, he still has to risk himself getting in there.
Yeah, speaking of getting in there, unfortunately, that's going to be Clutch Guild getting straight into anti-air space right there. These boys might very well indeed be the next one to fall. That's 2 members down from Brent Esports thus far. They're not done just yet. They want to go straight for Kuroki, and he just gets fully collapsed on. That's going to be maximum value for Clutch Guild, 3-0.
It's... Oh, man. I mean, great job, Clutch Guild. They've managed to secure a draft that just works early game, and they can keep going at it. And at this point, because if you look at the draft coming from the side of Brent Esports, it's more like we can't really protect our carries. There's the Zephys that's going to be problematic, and the Joker can't even be aggressive because of the shield, and bye-bye anti-hero.
There was just no way I could have broken that down. That was just a full-on collapse in full denial of any escape anti-hero could have otherwise done in that instance. And it's such a shame. It's very overwhelming. 0-9 right now on the scoreboard. Looks like Arcadia, as a small consolation, will get that turret, but looks like Ben is intent on at least seeking vengeance for that take right there. Meanwhile, Arcadia is still trying to run this out, but LYL, he's going to be joining the fight. That's going to be a lot of damage, and Arcadia is going to be going down with the snipe from LYL.
You know what I just realized, Arctic? Senial Alice has been the flavor duo for, our current meta in the Philippines. And then last year, AIC, it was more like Chogner and Alice. And now all those three heroes are on the same team. And they synergize really well together, or as a duo paired with LYL. And it's just massive protection for the Joker. And it's supplied with the right amount of damage as well. And it's just Brent Esports trying to adjust. And Kuroki, I'm not sure if Kuroki is going to be enough at this point.
Yeah, but LYL looks like he is very much well protected, as the rest of Brent Esports are. Will be forced to back away. Will respect the damage coming in across the board along with the protection. But meanwhile here, so they're just really starting to exhaust Brent Esports here as far as what resources that they have to at least try to get back into this game. If anything, by bringing the drought, by constantly taking out these camps from the side of Brent Esports almost needs to rely on trying to find a fight in their favor, which is kind of tricky considering when you're playing from just behind at a 0-10, 14.5 to a 20.2, now 22k deficiency.
Exactly. I completely agree with you there. And with the gold lead just tipping so much in Clutch Guild's favor, it's one of those things where we're going to rely on the Violet, especially later on, but at the same time, your enemy team has that Joker that scales really well and has a massive protection, and these guys are going to get tankier and tankier, and you're going to wonder, is it going to be enough for the Violet? And you mentioned how they just want to keep punishing, but that Zep is going in.
Yes, go straight in, no chill whatsoever. That's going to be Arcadia the first of all. Looks like this might be a potential cleanup right here, even with Kuroki hitting from the back line. Unfortunately, with the lead that Clutch Guild has, it's just too overwhelming for him to deal any significant damage in these fights. Looks like that's going to end in a 4-0 thus far. Can Clutch Guild take all the more? Looks like they are indeed. They're going to go straight for this third tier turret. Are they going for the finish, though? That is a potential possibility here. Kuroki, he needs to hold the fort. Arcadia's almost up. So is Beast Boy. But looks like Clutch Guild, they're going to go straight for Kuroki. They know that they can take him down, and that is going to be the ace. Arcadia is up, but Clutch Guild is intent on finishing this game. They're going straight. Just a few more hits right there. Brent Esports, they're trying to hold the fort here. 6-1-1, making the plays here to take it down, but no, it's not enough. But that will be the finish right there. Brent Esports even trying to hold the game, just not enough as Clutch Guild. That's going to be our first finalist, ladies and gents. What
that was
finish.
So that was a very stompy game in comparison to Game 1 and Game 2, where the gold lead is quite close, and it's basically each team have already, managed to reach their spikes, and that's the reason why they can close off the game. But this time, it wasn't close at all. It was Clutch Guild taking control from early phase to the mid phases of the game to post mid. It was unbelievably dominating, but at the same time, Clutch Guild just really was in their element, drafting that composition. It was balanced, getting the top 3 supports as well on their side with Chogner, Senial, and Alice, and utilizing it well. It worked out so well in their favor, pairing it with the Joker, and everything was just falling into place for them. It was just beautiful to look at with their rotations, and Red Esports couldn't react or had no response whatsoever.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, that was what I was talking about right there. What I was kind of looking for from Clutch Guild, because like I did mention, we were able to witness just how fluid a team that they are, why they are the team to beat. And I think in that Game 3, that was pretty much a clear demonstration right there. Game 1, Game 2, probably a little bit of a warm-up, but leading up to that, that was just insane. I mean, I keep on saying clean, but that's just pretty much how it was played out right there. Right down to that last moment, just when you thought Brent Esports could have held the fort, living true to their name, that was quite the clutch.
Yes, Senial was super tanky at the last part, and they managed to finish it off. And Kuroki, you saw he tried to stall as much as he can for the rest of the members to come online and maybe do a last moment of defense. But just as you mentioned, the gold lead was too much, and it was just a very slow death for Red Esports if they do manage to protect last minute on that last clash.
Man, so ladies and gents, there you have it. Clutch Guild, our very first finalists. Don't go anywhere just yet, though. We're going to be having our interview after just a very short few seconds. I'm going to be taking my leave so that Rigo can take it away, just so that we could kind of pick the mind of who our player feature is for the upcoming interview. So, Arctic, yours truly, I'll be seeing you guys in a bit. So, hold on to your seats, guys. We'll be back in just a few for that interview.
And welcome back to the Arena Valor Cup National Finals. And we're going to be interviewing Black from Clutch Guild. Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
So, gusto ko matanong, ano yung feeling nyo na nakarating kayo sa finals?
Excited.
Excited! And kamusta naman yung team mo? After nung nanalo kayo, after that game, ano yung reaction nyo agad?
Parang excited pa rin.
Excited pa rin. Actually, gusto kita matanong. Before nung match nyo with Brent Esports, ano yung expectation nyo? Kasi I heard, hindi pa daw kayo naglaban. So, may mystery involved. Anong expectations nyo?
Malakas naman po sila. Kaya we are trying our best to fight with them. Because they are one of the best team in the Philippines.
In the Philippines. And you guys won game number 1 in a very convincing manner. Pero nung game number 2, ano sa tingin nyo yung mali nyo?
We do buying but pick on the picking. We have problem sa usapan. Usapan namin kunin yung Alice tsaka Violet. Pero yung nanilik niya, kada niya Ali yung kunin niya? Ali yung nakuha. Kala niya Ali yung usapan namin, Alice tsaka Violet.
Pero napili niya Irie.
So nakamali kami sa usapan.
I see. So nagkamali kayo ng pick sa game number 2. Pero nung game number 3, ano yung game plan niyo? Natalo tayo game number 2. Anong game plan niyo pagdating ng game?
We're trying to defeat back. Win back the lose.
Win back the lose. And hindi naman kayo na-tilt.
Hindi naman na kami na-stress.
Na-stress?
Hindi
so,
naman.
Okay pa rin yung
okay pa rin.
Oh, that's good. That's good. At least you're a team na parang you got everything covered despite a loss. Pero now that you are you're heading over to the finals, ano expectations mo sa next match? Kung pipili ka kung sinong kakalaban nyo, sino yung gusto nyo? Will New Era or Samurai Gamers?
Will New Era.
Bakit Will New Era?
Kasi lagi na kaming nalalaban simula pa sa unang tournament.
So lagi kayo nagsiscrim. Kamusta naman yung mga scrims niya?
Yung sa tournament.
Sa tournament mismo?
Oo, lagi kami na-meet.
I see. So dati may history na kayo. Kamusta naman yung mga laban nyo ni Will New Era?
Tama naman, malakas din sila.
Malakas din sila. Alright, congratulations once again. Aabangan namin kayo mamaya sa finals. Any messages pa nga pala sa mga fans nyo?
Wala pa kaya kami fans.
Meron na kayo after nung laban din for sure.
Thank you for supporting us. We will try our best on the finals.
Alright, thank you again very much. So once again, that's Clutch Guild, that's Black from Clutch Guild. And when we take a break, babalikan natin ang second semifinals match, which is gonna be between Will New Era versus Samurai Gamer. So don't go away, we'll be right back.
Yeah, Clutch Guild. Ben looking very low, forced to just flicker his way out of there, but can't really say the same as BE. They are forced to back away. Peace Boy is trying to run away from Black here. Black very intent on chasing him down, but Anti-Hero is caught in the middle of this fight right here. That'll be first blood going to XDD, but things aren't done just yet. Looks like Kuroki will be the next to fall. Arcadia is trying to balance things out for Brent Esports, but he is going to have to back away. Kuroki will get knocked up by XDD. Actually, he might be getting another fight break out, but the numbers are looking quite well for Clutch Guild. Leather getting the kill onto Black. Looks like they want to go for the cleanup field. LYL, he's trying to balance things out by at least getting a counter kill onto the members of Brent Esports. It looks like LYL, he's actually surviving to tell the story.
Start an objective, give resources, but here's the fight. Let's see what's going to happen here. Okay.
Exactly, Abyssal Dragon, who's going to get this? Looks like they're not done just yet, though. They want to go straight in for the fight, not even getting a carry in the world. Didn't go to CG, though, but looks like CG, they are looking for a cleanup here. Damage is on their side here right now, but Anti-Hero healing quite a bit himself as well. Tries to go for 6-1-1, but XDD keeping it up right there. Yeah, Kuroki will just kind of back away there. Leather tries to balance things out by protecting his teammates, but he's looking at the lower end of the stick right now. But looks like Brent Esports. Anti-Hero goes straight for the back line. Actually manages to take down Black before he tries to back away under the safety of his turret. But XCD, very gutsy, very tanky, just goes straight in for the dive. But looks like Arcadia, wow, he wants to try to clean things up here, but he finds himself in a tricky situation, and he gets taken down. Translating from Clutch Guild, but looks like this is going to be the fight here. Brent Esports knows that they could take it right now. Anti-Hero will be joining the fray as well. Black does manage to take down Leather, though. Kuroki, he's trying to back away, dashing his way out of there, but the range is just making it work here for LYL, but he's going to get collapsed on by both Arcadia as well as Anti-Hero, but he actually manages to survive. Man, look at the movement right there, and that will end in it towards the bot side, but looks like that could be a convergence right there. Beast Boy goes straight and gets quite a bit of a hold onto Clutch Guild right there. That's not a fight that Clutch Guild might not have wanted to take. XD, he is trying to hit from the back line, but unfortunately that's just too much protection coming in from the side of Brent Esports for him to easily take down our target. But looks like, is this going to be the cleanup though? Beast Boy is kind of going for the front line, has to back away a bit though. Distancia Amigo, 6-1-1 though, he's trying to keep the members of Brent Esports at bay here from taking third, but that's going to be an easy take for them. As Amigo was said here, this could be the fight that Clutch Guild has been looking for, but Brent Esports, they are quick to go on for the response, but Kuroki easily gets decimated without the protection from his teammates. Looks like Brent Esports, they are going to try to make the most out of this fight though. They still have that massive lead. XDD, the only surviving member. Ladies and gents, this could potentially very well be the finish. Very hefty death timers coming in from the side of Clutch Guild. What can XDD do? I don't think one man could stop this full barrage of members from Brent Esports alone. XDD tries to go for Beast Boy, but in the process goes down. Oh, the Nexus though, at the end of the day, that will be the takedown as the scoreboard is figured out. 1-1 for Brent.
Oh, this is what they want.
Yeah, Beast Boy, medyo nang gulo siya dun sa episode. Dragon is trying to hold off Clutch Guild right there, but unfortunately he did go down, and that's going to be a huge boost here from Clutch Guild. They were able to secure Abyssal Dragon amidst Beast Boy trying to...
They just want to keep punishing, but that Zep is going in.
Yes, go straight in. No show whatsoever. That's going to be Arcadia the first ball. Looks like this might be a potential cleanup right here. Even with Kuroki hitting from the back line, unfortunately, the lead that Clutch Guild has, it's just overwhelming for him to deal any significant damage. But Kuroki needs to hold the fort. Arcadia is almost up. So is Beast Boy. But it looks like Clutch Guild, they're going to go straight for Kuroki. They know that they can take him down, and that is going to be the ace. Arcadia is up, but Clutch Guild is intent on finishing this game. They're going straight. Just a few more hits right there. Brent Esports, they're trying to hold the fort here. 6-1-1, making the plays here to take it down, but no, it's not enough. But that will be the finish right there. Brent Esports even trying to hold the game, just not enough as Clutch Guild. That's good.